Another epic comeback for the Orlando Magic, while they continue to prove to themselves and to everyone else that they are enough if they do the right things. Today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is December 29th. It will be December 30th, 2024. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic with another epic comeback victory, rallying from 21 down in the game, down 17 down in the fourth quarter. It was wild. A 22-4 run to close the game, capped off by Cole Anthony's floater with about a second and a half remaining. A huge victory for the Orlando Magic that once again shows they are enough. We'll see if they can believe that in a moment. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. First, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. And you can make Locked On Magic an even bigger part of your day with the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter. It's the one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic Newsletter. I had today's episode all written out about midway through the third quarter. I'll cop to it. I'm not going to deny this. I'm a journalist. I've got deadlines. I'm trying to get everything done as quickly as possible. I had it all written out. The Orlando Magic can run out of gas. This is a team of tryhards. They live on energy, and they reached back into the gas tank, into the fuel line, and there was nothing left. They didn't have enough to get this one going. The Brooklyn Nets were first to every loose ball. They were making shots. The Magic they didn't have it. They didn't look like the Orlando Magic for 2.5 to 3 quarters in this game. And with Anthony Black out with back spasms, with Jalen Suggs missing the second half with a wrist sprain, it just felt like it was all too much. The Magic had finally just kind of hit that wall. And look, when Franz Wagner went out 2 weeks ago, I'm pretty sure I came on here, and if I didn't, I'm saying it now. We knew there'd be nights like this, where the Magic just simply didn't have it, that there's a reason these players are where they are in the rotation, aren't the number one guys. It's hard to be consistent and hard to win without your top players. The margin for error is small. I know we've talked a lot about that over the last 2 weeks. And so sometimes it's just not your night. That's what it felt like for the Orlando Magic. And while we're not going to excuse that, and we'll break down what went wrong in the first 3 quarters here in a minute, in a little bit, not a minute, a little later on, it's not an excuse, but it is the reality. The Magic have to be really good. And the Brooklyn Nets are a team that will let you make mistakes. Not going to deny that, but we saw it against the Knicks. We saw it against the Thunder. We saw it against against the Heat. We saw it against so many other teams that the Magic are facing a very tall uphill climb. But we saw also in all of those games that if the Magic play the way that they know they have to play, they defend at a high level, they rebound, they outwork, they out-hustle, they get the ball moving, they play with some pace and intensity, that they can still give themselves a chance to win. What the Magic showed against the Brooklyn Nets in coming back from a 17-point deficit with, 8.5 minutes to play, from going on a 22-4 run over the last 6.5 minutes. There's the number. 22-4 run to close the game. What they showed is if the Orlando Magic play with urgency and intensity, they have enough. This comeback is wild. Like, yes, a 25-point comeback last week against Miami was wild. This comeback is wild against any team. I don't care that they're the Brooklyn Nets and that they are blatantly and openly tanking. I don't care about that. to do this to an NBA team, with the players the Magic are missing, is wild. It is culture defining. It is program defining. And the message from Jamahl Mosley after the game remained the same. We are enough. If you put Magic on the front of your chest, you're playing all out on defense. You're playing hard. You're playing with pace. You're doing all the things that are Magic basketball when they are healthy. That's the standard that you're playing to. And the Magic know that standard. How many times over the last decade have we entered a game going up against a team that is undermanned and said, this should be a win. They're missing player X or player Y, or they're missing player X, Y, and Z. And this is a win. And the Magic come up short. The Magic don't get the job done. They get outworked. Any NBA team can win a game. And that remains the key message. Because the Magic are now that team. The Magic are now that team that can win any game they're playing, as long as they do what they need to do. So what happened? The Magic give up only 40 points in the fourth quarter, just 18 points in the 40 points in the second half, 40 points in the second half, only 18 points in the fourth quarter. The Magic turned the ball over 11 times in the first half. Turnovers, a huge issue over the last week. They turned it over only twice in the second half and 0 times in the fourth quarter. That is the recipe for a comeback. But then, yes, they had to make shots. They had to stop fouling, give their offense a chance to get some rhythm, to get into flow, to take advantage of their defense. But the margin for error is small when you go down 21, when you have to come back and rally from such a large deficit. You have to make the shots. You have to make the plays. And whether it was Caleb Houston making a huge three or Tristan da Silva scoring 13 of his career high 21 points in the fourth quarter, making several big plays to put the Magic within striking distance, to be the guy the Magic drew up the final play for before Cole Anthony kind of blew it up and became the hero himself once again. All good, Cole. The Magic had to make play after play after play. They had to withstand adversity when it was, again, so easy to quit. This is who the Magic are. I said this after the win over the Heat. I said this after the win over the Celtics. This is what's possible. And yes, the margin for error is small. They have to make these shots. Not easy for them to do. They have to defend at a high level without some key players. And sometimes the other team makes shots. Brooklyn made a lot of tough shots in the first half that put the Magic in the hole and kept them from getting their rhythm. They have to find that line defensively to make sure they're not fouling like crazy. The Nets took 28 free throws in this game. They were struggling to keep Brooklyn off the foul line. Brooklyn was in the bonus in the third quarter within 4 minutes. It was rough with a capital F. But the Magic continue to fight. And again, that is the core of who they are. I know Jeff Weltman hates the idea of culture. No one wants to put a label on this thing. And, certainly no one wants to copy what the Heat are doing. No one wants to copy that. But the Magic continue to show us they have enough. That they are capable of playing to their standard. And that beyond anything else, their standard is enough to win on almost any night. Now, be upset that the Magic took 3.5 quarters to figure this out. Acknowledge that, yes, you're playing against a spirited and a talented Brooklyn Nets team, but one that is very young, as Jordi Fernandez pointed out after the game, that they needed an adult in the room to stop the bleeding, and all the adults in the room are not on the roster anymore, as they made a big trade on Sunday. The Magic continue to show if you give them an inch, they will take a mile. And while there is still a lot that this Magic team has to develop and grow and get better at to be the kind of team they ultimately want to be. At the end of the day, this is the heart of championship teams. You give them an inch, they take a mile. You give them an opportunity to win, they take it, even if they played poorly for the entire game. The Magic are a team capable of winning and winning at the highest levels once they get their stars back. But on this Sunday, on this day, on this afternoon, the Magic showed us who they are. They showed us what they're capable of. They showed us why they're in the position they're in and why this 2024 calendar year has been freaking amazing. The Magic showed us what's possible. And that is enough. This team is enough. This team, it has enough to keep shocking everybody. So don't give them that chance. What are the big questions? What are the big issues? What are the big reasons the Magic won Cole Anthony? Let's dive into the Cole conundrum coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Rocket RX. If you're ready to boost your confidence and take control in the bedroom, Rocket RX has the solution. Imagine feeling more prepared and performing at your best. Rocket RX makes it simple and stress-free. Rocket RX offers FDA-approved treatments for erectile dysfunction at a lower cost than branded alternatives. No more uncomfortable doctor visits or pharmacy trips, but you do still have to listen to uncomfortable ad reads. Everything is delivered straight to your door in discreet, plain packaging. With Rocket RX, you'll get trusted care from a real U.S. clinical team. Complete a quick 100% online consultation, and you could get your free prescription today. Visit rocketrx.com to get started now. It only takes 2 minutes. Right now, our listeners can get 40% off. That's 40% off your first order when you use code LOCKEDONNBA. That's rocketrx.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for 40% off your first order. Terms and conditions apply. Rocket RX, better sex made simple. So a lot happened in this game. A lot happened. But one thing that continued to happen and continues to, I think, split the Magic fan base. So I want to spend a segment addressing it individually. It deserves its own segment. The Orlando Magic benched Cole Anthony again. He didn't play very much in the loss of the New York Knicks. And he didn't play in the first half against the Brooklyn Nets on Sunday. But with Jalen Suggs suffering a sprained right wrist and really playing with a sprained right wrist and just unable to continue, we'll talk more about Suggs here in a minute. The Magic started Cole Anthony in the second half. His final stat line is wildly unimpressive. I want to make that clear. But 10 points, 3 for 11 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3, 2 for 2 from the foul line, 3 assists, and most importantly, 0 turnovers. The Magic were plus 17 with Cole on the floor. Clearly something was there. And even Cole admitted, look, he said after the game he did not think he played well. But he was plus 17, so he must have done something right. And throughout the first half of the game, the decision to bench Cole, the decision not to play Cole in a game that you're playing without Anthony Black, was wildly debated. And certainly Cole playing this well and delivering in another win is going to add to that debate. Without any natural point guards available, except for Corey Joseph and Cole Anthony, the Magic did opt to play Trevelin Queen in the first half. And let me say this, TQ really struggled. Played 5.5 minutes, had virtually no stats. He had a rebound, a foul, and 3 turnovers in 5.5 minutes. It was rough. It was bad. I've already said rough. It was bad. And that was a big reason why the Magic fell behind, was Jamahl Mosley made a bet that putting Trevelin Queen in would hold them steady as a kind of lead ball handler and give them the defense that they need, and it didn't on either count. I say this all the time. I'm not going, I will criticize coaching decisions, but I'm not going to say that they were necessarily wrong. I understand, as long as I can rationalize them. As long as there's like a rational reason for it. Look, the lineup did not work. Jamahl Mosley should not go back to that lineup with Trevelin Queen essentially playing point guard. It did not work. I believe it was Queen, Jet, J.I., Wendell Carter, and who else was out there? Gary Harris. Like, there's no playmaking, no creation. It was a bad lineup. The Magic have a lot of bad options. But I get why he did not turn to Cole Anthony. Because the last time we saw Cole Anthony against the Knicks, he had a ton of turnovers, pretty much took a 15-point game against the Knicks, or an 11-point game against the Knicks, and turned into a 20-point game. Again, the Magic were tied when Jalen Suggs got his 5th foul in that game Friday. They were down 15 when Suggs came back in. Cole Anthony's minutes were really, really difficult. And Cole has been all over the place. He was all over the place in this game. But there is also this truth. As much of a risk as it is to play Cole Anthony right now, with how inconsistent he has been, from the highs that he's had, including this game where he hit that game-winning shot, and the game against the Heat when he was so vital to their success. From those highs, he has had a lot of lows. It has been a rough season for Cole Anthony. Cole will be the first to tell you that. And I get why Jamahl Mosley is hesitant to roll that dice, to play that card. Because, especially in a game where the Magic were struggling so much with turnovers, if Cole Anthony is going to be a turnover magnet, if he's going to turn the ball over a lot, that would take you away from winning. At the end of the day, this is what coaches are after. Coaches are after consistency. What can I count on? And, again, judge everything in hindsight. Absolutely. Trevelin Queen lineup didn't work. Cole Anthony lineups did. Jamahl Mosley may have made the mistake with TQ. He got to the right decision with Cole Anthony. One way or the other. I'm not going to sit here and debate that. Cole Anthony deserved to play. He earned his right to play. He earned his right to play in the next game. I think we will see him against Detroit. And the struggle for Cole Anthony this year has been his inability to build back-to-back good games. Scored 35 against the Heat. Pretty sure he went scoreless against the Celtics. That's the kind of struggle that Cole Anthony has had all year long. So he's got to be more consistent. And even in this game, even though he was not turning the ball over, he was getting into the paint, getting trapped among the trees, shooting floaters, and missing them. It's hard when your main skill is your scoring and you're not scoring. And on top of that, a lot of your misses are essentially turnovers. You're turning the ball over already. I can understand why Jamahl Mosley did not turn to him. But this is the difficulty. And I will admit, I think I get this a lot about why is Jamahl making these decisions? Like, why is the team going to this player? At the end of the day, like, look at what's available. Look at what's on the roster right now. The Magic played Caleb Houston in meaningful minutes today, in clutch minutes. And look, Caleb Houston stepped up to the plate. We'll talk about the box score here in a minute. He was vital to the team winning, hit the game-tying three-pointer late in the fourth quarter, got a steal that gave the Magic the lead eventually. Caleb Houston delivered, and guess what? Caleb Houston's probably getting Jett Howard's minutes on Tuesday in Detroit, or on Wednesday in Detroit. That's kind of how this goes. We're trying to cobble together 240 minutes every single game, and I don't think Jamahl Mosley knows which of his 12 players or however many players he has is going to perform on a night-to-night basis. That's the problem for the Magic right now. Jamahl Mosley is trying to make educated guesses over who is going to be ready to play every single night. Or not necessarily like everyone's, I think, ready to play. Who's going to perform every single night? And if it feels like he's searching for it, it's because he is. But this is the problem. We know the Magic need a point guard. We know the Magic needs someone who can create a little bit, create shots off the dribble, get downhill to the paint. And all of you are right. Cole Anthony can do it. He may miss those shots. He may not be great at passing out of that. And honestly, that might be the step you have to take is say, hey, Cole, when you drive, do not go that extra mile. Do not go into the trees. look to pass. And look, he needs to be looking to score because the Magic have so few guys looking to score. The thing that might unlock Cole Anthony is to say, don't go the extra step. Look for the pass as much as you're shooting. Because guess what? You're right. Cole Anthony is getting into the paint a lot. He does get downhill to the basket a lot better than almost any ball handler the Magic have, including Jalen Suggs right now. And the Magic need that tension and that pressure. Cole Anthony, the Magic have to find a way to make Cole Anthony work, because if Cole Anthony doesn't work, the Magic really struggle to get quality looks and get shots in the paint. They have to find a way. But unfortunately, like, the prospect of that is really good. The results of that have been difficult. And until the Magic are fully healthy, the Magic got to take some gambles. And right now, the best gamble might be to say, go for it, Cole. This is your time. This is your moment. We gotta let you try. Jamahl Mosley is holding this team together with scotch tape and belief. And look, this team believes the heck out of him. This team will run through a wall for that guy. And he has pushed a lot of buttons. Some of them haven't worked, and he's saved the ship from going aground several times already this season. You know, all the players say he should be coach of the year. It is true. I'm not here denying that Jamahl Mosley hasn't made mistakes, hasn't been perfect. He has not been perfect. He has made a lot of mistakes. He's found ways to course correct and get in the right direction. The Cole conundrum is a big, big thing. Because right now, the Magic absolutely need Cole Anthony. The way he improvised and finished the game on that game-winning shot, that floater from the right wing, that is a shot only Cole Anthony's taking. And a play and a read, better or worse, that only Cole Anthony is making. He is unique on this roster. And so right now, the Magic have to find a way to make him work. Or, you know, it's going to be hard. It's hard already. It's going to be hard. They have to find a way to make him work. Let's go through the rest of the box score. We'll talk about the rest of the Orlando Magic, including Tristan da Silva's career game. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. Let's go through the rest of the box scores. The Orlando Magic defeat the Brooklyn Nets 102-101. Again, the Magic closed the game on a 22-4 run over the last 6.5, 7 minutes of the game. An absolutely stunning run. I mean, the Magic were crazy to come back from the Heat by 20 when they were down 25 last week. I know it's Brooklyn. I'm not throwing shade at Brooklyn, although I don't think I can avoid it. I'm not throwing shade at Brooklyn that they're not prepared for. Love you guys at Locked On Nets. I think most Nets fans are pretty happy with how the game went down, to be perfectly honest. We've been there too. Talked to the Nets writer, said, yeah, it's going to get worse for you. Like, we've been there. It's tough. I know it's against Brooklyn. This is, go back and listen to some of the episodes when the Magic were tanking and the Magic were really bad. And I would say this was an impossible loss. The Magic had this game won. They blew it in a way that is so impossible and unfathomable that it frustrates you, even if you're okay with the team losing. They can lose, just not like this. This is an impossible loss for the Nets. And, look, the Magic defense is really good. Holding a team to 4 points in a clutch situation, that's insane. You know, and even then, the Magic tried to give the game away. They fouled Jalen Wilson when they were up one, trying to track down an offensive rebound. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope just made an aggressive play. He was going for the ball, but he pushes Jalen Wilson out of bounds as they're going for an offensive rebound. Wilson gets to the foul line, makes 2 free throws, goes up one, and Cole Anthony becomes the hero that way again. So there were a lot of mistakes in this game. The Magic were not good. Like blatantly not good. So before we get to any individuals, let's talk about how bad the Magic were in the first 3.5 quarters. I don't want to let them off the hook for how bad they were. Just zero energy. Like, it's a 3:30 tip off. Like, odd tip-off for the Magic and for a lot of teams. I expected it to be a little rough at the beginning, but they're making shots, but they were fouling a lot. They had, 23 fouls in the game that led to 28 free throw attempts. It's Magic foul a lot anyway, but they just never found the right kind of physicality that they needed. They never found the line that the refs were drawing. And I wouldn't say this was a well-officiated game, and the officiating changed after Jamahl Mosley picked up a technical foul at the end of the third quarter. Let's not deny it. Technical fouls work when things are really bad. Second time that's happened, but yeah, like the Magic were flying all over the place, and they were just a step off everywhere. Offensively, they had no juice. That's really the only way to describe it. It was kind of a dead crowd early in the game. There's nothing to cheer about, so it just felt very quiet in the Kia Center for a change. And Orlando just could not get themselves moving. And look, some of that has to do with Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs should not have played in this game. Like, plain and simple. Jalen Suggs right now, if he is hurt, it is hard for him to set out because the Magic need him. But when he is this hurt, he is hurting his team. And we've talked a lot about Jalen Suggs and how his emotions and his intensity can cut both ways. This was a game where his injury hurt his team. Suggs finished with 8 points on 2 for 7 shooting. He was 4 for 5 from the foul line. 2 assists, had a turnover again, just didn't play a lot. He was shooting a lot of flip shots around the basket with his left hand. It was clear he was shooting, like intentionally shooting with his offhand. And look, I'm all for guys shooting left-handed layups. I think NBA players are not as good at left-handed layups as they should be, for certainly as much as it was emphasized to all of us when we were growing up. I'm left-handed. I am not as good with my right hand as I need to be either. I will cop to that, and that's a skill I want to continue to gain if I ever play basketball again. Jalen Suggs was shooting a number of his shots with his left hand whenever he could, dribbling a lot with his left hand. His right wrist was in no condition to play this game. And so I'm glad that the Magic shut him down. I don't know if he shut him down or the Magic shut him down, but I'm glad he took the second half off. I'm glad we're getting 2 days off. Hopefully that gives a chance for the sprain to heal. Honestly, wouldn't shock me if he's out Wednesday. Like, the dude needs a week. Like, when Paolo and Franz first get back together in February, I know we'll have the All-Star break, which will help a little bit with that. But honestly, like, once Paolo kind of settles back in, I want to give Jalen Suggs a week off. Like, can we give this kid a week off just to get his body right and heal a little bit? That would be my preference. I don't think either A, Jalen Suggs will want that, or B, the Magic will want that. But Jalen Suggs just wasn't there today. The Magic still, despite that, got some good performances throughout the roster. Goga Bitadze had a really solid 19 points, 8 for 10 shooting, 11 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds, 5 assists. Did a lot of Goga Bitadze things. Really love Goga's game. You know what again, like what I said about earlier, consistency. Do I know what I'm going to get from you every single night? Goga Bitadze is going to be the starting center for the Orlando Magic when they're healthy, because the Magic know what they're going to get from him every single night. He doesn't try to do more than what he's capable of doing. He took a bad 3 in this game, but that's about it. He doesn't try to do more. He just does himself, and he does it really well. Goga Bitadze, another really solid game. Having said that, Wendell Carter, also a really solid game. Surprised he only played 27 minutes because I thought Wendell Carter played really well. 13 points, 6 for 9 shooting, 1 for 4 from the foul line. Only mark against him was he missed his free throws. 6 rebounds for him. Really loved his game. Was active around the basket. Was finishing above the rim. Had a bunch of dunks in this game. Was decisive and quick when he attacked and went back up for putbacks. This is the Wendell Carter the Magic need. The 3-point shot isn't there. He's not a spacer as much as he used to be for whatever reason, but he was really good around the basket. He was aggressive, looking for lanes to the basket and taking them. A really strong game for Wendell Carter. First strong game in a very, very long time. Let's get to the highlight, guys. Tristan da Silva had his best game of his career, and he's been really good. We'll talk more. Let's talk more about him tomorrow. I'll make tomorrow the Tristan da Silva episode. But 21 points, 8 for 15 shooting, 4 for 9 from 3, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. He scored 13 of those 21 in the fourth quarter. He had a string of a 3, a layup, a turnaround fadeaway, and then a layup and 1. So an 8-point swing in 3 possessions. That got the Magic within a score. the Magic ran plays for him. Not only that, they put the ball in his hands and told him, you're the point guard, organize the offense. He had 7 assists. And like I said a few days ago, like, I don't mind Tristan da Silva turnovers because that tells me he's being aggressive. The fact the Magic put the ball in his hands, the fact that the Magic gave him that responsibility, the fact that Jamahl Mosley said after the game, like, right now, we're kind of treating him like how we treated Franz, his rookie in his second year, when we put the ball in his hands and said, go figure it out. Like, go make mistakes, go learn how to do this. We believe you can be a point forward. That's like really exciting. I know like that da Silva compared to Franz is a little tired, and I'm not completely on board that that's who he looks like. Da Silva's poise is evident. There's certainly an older rookie. You can tell that. He is really starting to come into his own and find his confidence. Again, I think it's like 4 of his last 6 or 6 of his last 7, or like 5 of his last 7 games, he scored 15 or more points. And a lot of that comes from the injuries and all the opportunity. Da Silva is a keeper. And the Magic won this game because Tristan da Silva took over. They won this game because da Silva kept making the right decisions, kept making the key shots, kept just playing good basketball, finding pockets and lifting the team up and giving the team some confidence and more importantly, some energy. That's what they were missing all game, was just a little bit of energy. And this was a true coming out performance for Tristan da Silva. He's had a few of them over the last 2 weeks, but like this was a put his rubber stamp on the game. Kind of wish he got the game-winning shot. Cole took it from him. No one's going to be upset about that. But da Silva was the absolute hero of this game, and he's really started to look better. We went over Cole Anthony, 10 points, 3 for 11 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3. A lot of good things from Cole, just getting downhill to the basket, kind of creating tension in the defense. But again, he's just missing a lot of shots he used to be making at a high clip that he's not making anymore. Really just limiting his turnovers. Him having no turnovers allows him to play. And so tough game for him. But he was ready when the Magic called for him. You know, again, I think this is like the bigger message too. He was ready when the Magic called. So was Caleb Houston. Caleb Houston plays 15 minutes in this game, nearly 15 and a half minutes. He scores 12 points, 3 for 4 shooting from 3, 3 for 3 from the foul, and he got fouled on a three-pointer. Hits the game-tying 3. Just steps up in a huge spot. This dude was ready to play, stepped in, made his mark. Absolute gutsy play from Caleb Houston. Unbelievable that he was ready to go and that he was ready to play when his number was called, when he just has not been a factor all season. Like I said, Jamahl Mosley right now is pulling every lever, sometimes pulling it twice, sometimes pulling different levers, just trying to find something that works. And the quicker he finds something that works, the more successful the Magic have been. One of the reasons the Magic have faced the deficits they faced is his ideas have not taken. But he abandons them, or he changes them up quickly enough, or finds the right combination eventually, that the Magic are able to get back and give themselves a chance to win. Now, look, the Magic have to avoid going down by double digits and by huge deficits like this. They got to stop doing this. They're out of this stretch of the schedule where they're facing the most difficult teams. Like, again, like I've said over the last few weeks, the Magic were playing teams where they could not make mistakes. The Nets are a team where they could make mistakes. They were down 18 at the half. I was telling people in the media room, like, yeah, the Magic are probably still going to win this game. Like, I didn't they'd win it like this, but I was just like, look, the Magic have to figure some things out. Once they straighten themselves out, they'll be fine. It took the Magic 3.5 quarters to figure themselves out, and then they just ran past Brooklyn. It was just, again, just an unbelievable comeback. The Magic have to settle on rotations that work and settle on the guys that are working. And right now, the Magic lack consistency. And that's what you expect when you're down the players that you're down. Again, like I felt like against the Knicks, Jamahl Mosley was almost ready to have Tristan da Silva anchor some of the bench units just to give them a guy that he trusts fully. But da Silva went scoreless against the Knicks. He's still going to have rookie moments. He's starting to show up on some scouting reports, I am sure. It's going to be interesting to see how he adjusts. So the Magic have to find consistency again. And that's obviously like not an easy thing to do, because the deeper you go into your bench, the less you trust players. That's why they're not playing, and the less consistent you think they can be, which is why they are further down on the bench. But the Magic don't have any options. They have to find a way. They have to find something that works. Anthony Black was out with back spasms. If I didn't mention that earlier, he wasn't an option. They just have to find a way, and it is just not easy right now. Honestly, I'm expecting Mac McClung to travel on this trip because I'm not expecting Jalen Suggs to be available on Wednesday. And honestly, like Anthony Black is probably 50-50 to be available Wednesday too. So the Magic have to find something that works, and they have to be all hands on deck to find it. But like Jamahl said, the Magic have enough. They believe enough in the talent that they have. They believe if they play well, if they execute, if they play Magic basketball, they will have a chance to win. And that is the ultimate question that they have to answer. The Orlando Magic defeat the Brooklyn Nets 102-101. A couple of days off for the new year. The Magic tip off 2025 in Detroit on January 1st. We'll have complete coverage of that on Locked On Magic coming up later this week. But until then, that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. Subscribe to the podcast, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Hemley, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the Hemley podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, including what I'm hoping in the next day or two I will be able to do, is break down the Magic's game-winning scenarios in the last week. We've had a few of them. We'll break down some clutch plays on my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. Subscribe there. And as always, thank you for your support. As if all that's not enough, you can also check out the Locked On Magic Daily newsletter, the one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. Whew, that was a long Sunday. It's a long day, but I want to thank you again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about Tristan da Silva and his development, plus talk about what we're looking forward to in 2025. We'll get to all that coming up on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Wright. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.